Let's talk BYU's game this coming week because it is the first one on Friday night. Oklahoma State and BYU basically in inverse positions that they were last year when BYU gave the Pokes all they could handle in Stillwater. What was it, 3 overtimes, 4 overtimes? Something crazy.
I think it was at least a couple.
Yeah. It's a crazy game. And here BYU sits at the top of the conference, top 15 ranking. Oklahoma State is a heap of burning trash this year. But is this a game that concerns you at all, Bomber?
Absolutely.
Like BYU covers.
Every time BYU, so BYU's broken a couple of what are they called? Holy cows, not holy cows. Sort of things that are always out there that you can't seem to get over, right? There's these sacred cows is what I was trying to say. And one of those sacred cows is the replacement quarterback. They've always struggled with replacement quarterbacks. Every year they struggle, and I don't see why this year is going to be any different. This might be the first game. BYU, I think, is covered now. Well, every game this season. So 6 games they've covered. And that's hard to do, to cover. It's one thing to win. It's another thing to cover. Vegas knows its stuff. 9 points scares me. I got to be honest with you. I think that if BYU goes out and wins by 1 point, I'll be happy. I just want the win. At this point, we're just stacking win after win after win. It doesn't matter how you do it as long as you keep winning. And so I am a little bit worried because Bowman, I was licking my chops for. Like Cam, I wanted Cam to be there. Isaac Wilson, I'm not looking forward to when we go to Utah. So as far as I'm concerned, I'd rather play these old rust bucket type QBs that have been around forever that lots of tape on that you can see. TCU last year, who was it? Hoover? Who was your quarterback that came in last year? Came in
Hoover
and just torched him like it was an arcade game or something. And it's all because nobody knew, right? Nobody knew anything about this kid. And now we've got some more tape on him, but we don't know anything about this new replacement quarterback. I think he's been in and played a little bit, but this defense is different. So Jay Hill, I believe BYU will win this game, but 9 points kind of scares me.
Yeah. Fun fact, this is the second largest spread in the Big 12 this week. The only one that's larger belongs to guess who?
Oh, Iowa State. Let's go.
Iowa State. Yeah, Iowa State's the only one that's got bigger. Brownie, do you have any concerns about the Cougs in this game, or do you feel like this is one that you get a Cougar tail and don't sweat it?
This is kind of weird because while we've been talking, even before we got on stream, there's a report that has come out of Stillwater that Mike Gundy had a quote-unquote run-in with his cattle and has an injured eye.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. I got a bad
breaking news on the biggest 12, folks.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've got a bad eye that I didn't think would be particularly enjoyable for people when they were looking at my pretty face in a live interview, Gundy said. But more importantly, it's full of blood and I get dizzy.
Y'all will not guess where I found this story on the internet. On Fox News.
Yeah.
Actually.
Oh, okay.
Fox Sports.
There you go.
Really?
Fox News. No, this is regular Fox News.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Injury after run-in with his cattle. Cowboys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whether or not I'm assuming that is true because it says that he did it on a Zoom call.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm putting my full, undoubtedly blind faith in news articles right now.
There you go. I got you.
That'll never burn me at all. So, I mean, if it is in fact true, he's either A, already making an excuse on why he lost to BYU, or B, he's going to use it as like some random motivation, and he's going to come out and play lights out like we thought Okie State was supposed to do at the beginning. I don't know. I do feel like 9 points is kind of an entrapment on BYU, especially since they have covered. I agree. I think Okie State will play it a lot closer than we think. I personally think that BYU, though, is just going to blow them out of the water. I don't see maybe going into the second half, it might be a 1-possession game. Maybe a field goal splits the two,
Right.
or even like a missed extra point or something is going to split the two, and then second half Cougars are just going to come out and blow their socks off.
Gundy queuing up the classic excuse. My team lost because a steer poked me in the eye.
Crazy story, isn't it?
General
Wow.
says, I heard MSNBC on MSNBC Gundy attacked the poor cow. Yeah, that's we like some balance in our
boy. So
there we go. I will say this: BYU at night games are 23 and 25 in the last 6 years in night games. Anything after 8 p.m. Eastern time. So, I mean, 23 and 2. I apologize. They've only lost twice. 23 out of 25 times they've won those games. So, you don't want to be in Provo on a night game. You see that on the schedule. You just want to take a pass if you can. So that's where we're at for this Friday. On another note, the weather is going to be rainy, and finally it's 85 today. It's going to be 50 and cool on Friday night. So who knows? For all those bettors out there, that's information you'll need.
All right. Well, I'm picking the Cougars in this one. I like the Cougars. I like them to keep it rolling. I don't know if they cover. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Oklahoma State covers, but yeah, give me the Cougs to keep it rolling. Moving on, we got Arizona State at Cincinnati. This is a very enticing matchup to me. Two teams that have been very much on the come up this year. I like Sorsby a lot. I keep singing his praises. It feels like every single week on this show, and I really, really love that Arizona State coach. I love Scadaboo, everything Arizona State is doing. Can Arizona State win on the road? That's the big question. I'm inclined to pick Cincinnati in this one, just because not all that unlike Texas Tech. It seems like Arizona State is a different team at home versus on the road. How do y'all see this one playing out at 11 a.m.?
I personally think that Cincinnati is going to pull this one, pull a rabbit out of their hat, so to speak. It is their homecoming this week as well. So I think that there is going to be a little extra motivation. From personal history, though, Cincinnati is 0-1 against Iowa State when it's their homecoming. Not to rub some salt on the wound. But I do like Sorsby. I really think that they do have the weapons. Their defense is getting a lot healthier. They had, I think, missed a couple of D linemen the past couple of weeks, and a few of them I've heard have been coming back. The only question mark that I have for the entire game is, can Cincy contain Scadaboo? I think that's going to be the challenge for every Big 12 team. Can they contain the running back? Because, I mean, man, watching that game against Utah just could not stop that kid. He was catching footballs, he was running, he was blocking. I mean, he was everything that you would want from basically a power back. You know, he's going downhill, he's attacking the defenders. I do think that Cincinnati has the defense to be able to contain it, especially with that front defensive line. They probably have one of the best defensive lines in the Big 12. So it's going to be all up to them on what they want to do. Wow.
Just checking in on it. Just
remember, it doesn't count. Wrong quarterback.
There you go.
Bomber, who are you taking in Sun Devils Bearcats?
I would take this, and I'd bet the mortgage this month. Arizona State has never traveled for any amount of time 2 time zones, let alone I believe they're in the Mountain or the Pacific time zone right now. They might be going 3. They might be going all 3 time zones to go back east. I would take Cincinnati to cover easy, and Scadaboo's good, but Utah showed you how not to tackle him. I anticipate Cincinnati to put 8 guys in the box and say, "Come at us, bro," and make that quarterback complete a pass farther than about 5 yards. So I'm not afraid. I think Arizona State's come a long way. I had them picked last in the conference, just like basically everybody else did. They've overperformed for sure, but I think Cincinnati is going to become part of their come down. They've had a a relatively easy first part of the season, if you count Utah with a dinged Cam as easy. And I think they're going to find out that Scatterboo can run, but it's hard to run against a box of 8. So they're going to make that quarterback beat him over the top. He's going to be in the NFL. There's no doubt about that.
100%.
But I don't think it's going to be on Cincinnati's back this week.
Yeah. All right. Looking to another game in the Big 12, 2:30 game. Houston at Kansas. Kansas is almost a full touchdown favorite. Their first opportunity for a win in a while. I think Houston might have gotten the only one that they were going to get against poor, stupid, hapless TCU. I like the Jayhawks at home in this one. What do you guys think?
No shot. Houston's going to cover that 6.5, and I actually have Houston winning.
Oh, okay.
Upset alert, if you can consider it an upset with a Jayhawks team that's 1-5. I think, was it a couple of weekends ago, I was saying that the Kansas offensive coordinator reminded me a lot of the old Iowa State offensive coordinator, Tom Manning. I think that offense is starting to struggle. They're starting to realize it. And I don't think that Grimes has it in him to fully adjust a playbook. I think he's just kind of stuck with who he has. Jalen Daniels hasn't looked as good as he did in the past. Neither has Devin Neal. They don't have the weapons that they used to have on offense. And the defense seems very inconsistent. So I really think that Houston has been turning it around. I mean, it's been a little bit of a grind. They're done getting shut out by teams at least. But yeah, I think that Houston goes in and plays spoiler alert to Kansas.
Bomber, what do you think?
I didn't know this game was this week, so I knew it was coming up, but I wasn't sure when. Does one team have to win? Can we have ties anymore? Is that possible? Kansas I thought would be really, really good this year, and Jalen Daniels is falling off. But they brought in Jeff Grimes, who's quite possibly the worst offensive coordinator outside of my own, but we can talk about that here. I think that they've regressed so far. I honestly don't know who to take. 7 points seems ridiculous to me. I mean, I thought 9 was bad for BYU, and they're winning. I can't even imagine a team that's only won one game having 7 points. Yeah, that just seems like a lot. I would probably, with the points, I'd probably take Houston.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to the 3 p.m. time slot, the Butt Bowl, ladies and gentlemen. BUTT, Baylor, Texas Tech. No longer is it played in Arlington. It's in Lubbock this year. I know, Brownie, you were saying you think this is when the wheels come off the Texas Tech train. I like the Raiders at home against Baylor. Baylor is super mega butt if we're talking about, butts in the Butt Bowl. Bomber, do you see this going any different way?
I think Baylor wins this.
Yeah.
I do. I think Texas Tech is good and they're on a roll, but Baylor's better than their record. So if you're a Baylor homer, you've got a lot. I mean, Aranda, I would want him gone too. But your team has actually played pretty well. They held BYU to 1 possession. They hung around with the Utah team that at the time had a fully healthy, half this game had a fully healthy Cam Rising. So I think Baylor could win this game. Now, I certainly would take the 6.5. I would, if I was a Baylor fan, I'd be happy with 6.5 points.
6.5 is a lot. 6.5 is a lot in the Big 12. I mean, even if you look to last week's scores and everything, almost everything was decided by 3 points except for the BYU and the Iowa State game, I believe. I think
they were in that. They were in that Iowa State game for 3 quarters. If they didn't turn the ball over on 2 successive possessions,
exactly.
That's what I'm saying. That's the game I'm actually judging this off of. Is that one?
And what's absolutely crazy too is when you look at these two teams, I really think that Baylor has the higher ceiling, and Texas Tech, I think, has already hit their ceiling.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of wiggle room, so to speak, for Texas Tech to go out and win this game. I think it's going to come down to a couple of turnovers. Morton has done really well, 14 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. He's been holding on to the ball a lot. I just personally think that with Aranda's back to the wall, everybody's talking about, is he going to have a job the following week? Is he going to have a job at the end of the year? I think he's just going to start pulling out all the stunts. You're halfway through the season. You're 2-4. You're 0-3 in Big 12. You got to do something for your job. I mean, we saw it with Neil Brown against Iowa State. He called all 3 of his timeouts with a minute and a half left to try to stop it. And Matt Campbell just decided to put up the big old middle finger, went for it on 4th and 3 with a seam over the top to seal it. And I think Aranda's kind of in the same boat.
Yeah. All right. Well, elsewhere in the 3 p.m. time slot, we got a Pac-12 reunion, Colorado at Arizona. I don't know what to think about this game, to be honest with you. Possibly the 2 best quarterback receiver duos in the conference, maybe. But outside of that, I don't know. I maybe like Colorado on the road in this one. What do you two think?
Is Hunter out for this game? Did they say that he's back?
Good question.
I haven't. Both him and Horn were out. It'd be
Yeah.
nice to know if Horn is out too. It depending on the injury status of the top 2 receivers on their team and their best DB. Colorado can't run the ball, so it's a throw the ball 65 times, Shedeur Sanders kind of game. And BYU didn't exactly torch Arizona. They won by a good margin, but I mean, there at the end it was a pick 6, in the last possession of the game. And I would, on this one, 3.5's a lot. If it was 2, I'd probably take Arizona outright, but I think I'd still probably take Arizona. I think Colorado's just, they can't run the ball.
According to
Herb
On
beats
3,
him all. He's
Deion
back.
Sanders said that Travis Hunter should play for certain this weekend in Arizona.
Okay, well, he changes the game all by himself. He might make that 3 points up just by himself. So it's probably a pick 'em.
Yeah, I see that Travis Hunter and Jimmy Horn are projected to play, but Jimmy Horn is a game day decision. If you get both of them back, I personally see Colorado coming out with the win against Arizona. But I mean, if you look at that Colorado team, as soon as Travis Hunter went down, it was a completely different team.
Yes.
He, as much as I think Deion Sanders wants to make it about his sons and stuff like that, it's Travis Hunter's team it's his games to win or lose. You know what I mean? And I hate it when everybody always goes, "Oh, it's on so and so to win this game." Like Colorado, I'm sorry, but it's up to Travis Hunter to win you games. If Travis Hunter does not perform, you do not win. If you do not have Travis Hunter on the field, I don't think that you're going to win either. If he leaves again in like the first quarter because he tweaked his shoulder again, whether it be on offense or defense, I don't see them beating Arizona. But if the reports are right that Hunter's back and healthy and Jimmy Horn is a game day and he dresses and plays, yeah, Colorado's going to steamroll Arizona, I fear.
All right. Moving on to Iowa State, a 14-point favorite at home against UCF.
That's a lot. That's a lot of points.
To check in here,
Brother.
Alabama just fumbled and BYU recovered here with the lead and less than 2 minutes to go in our
Wow.
simulation here. So,
How about that?
All right. So Iowa State, I mean, they'll beat UCF at home. Will they cover a 14-point spread? I think that's the question.
So I guess I know that I've said it in the past. Matt Campbell does not like to blow out opponents, right? The Arkansas State game was a complete and total fluke. He went out and apologized to Butch Jones for whooping his butt with a bunch of backups. It's one of those things that I always find funny because I always say that our offense is like a rabid dog on a very short leash. Matt Campbell keeps Mouser, I think, on a super short leash, and you can always see it in the play calling, where we'll have a couple of possessions where we score in 5-6 plays, 80 yards in 5 to 6 plays, and then the next possession is a 3 and out, and then the next possession is a 3 and out, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh hey, we can play offense this time, and then it's an 80-yard 3-play touchdown drive. I really don't see us covering 14 points. Like, 14 is very generous for an Iowa State team.
Yeah. Bomber, do you think it happens?
Again, I saw 14 points and I was like, whoa, wait a second. It sounds like BYU and Iowa State have a lot of things in common this year then, because Kalani's the exact same way. Every time, all I want him to do is score 40 points every game, and invariably he'll stop at 31 and be happy. So 14 points is very, very difficult to cover. However, UCF is melting down. So I think I'm going to take Iowa State giving the points, and I think it might be something bloody at the end. I don't even know what the score could be.
I would
because
love for it to be
Iowa
bloody.
State's defense is going to score some points in this game. I'd be shocked if they don't score a couple touchdowns.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
freaking
my
irritated
only
we lost
concern
that
with
game.
the Iowa State stuff is our defense. Because for anybody that's following really closely, last weekend we started 2 walk-ons at linebacker. We are fresh out of linebackers. So we held West Virginia to what we did with 2 walk-on linebackers, 2 backup defensive backs, and a backup defensive lineman. So I always kind of sit there and chuckle, and I was like, John Heacock must have known that our defense was going to be so good that he wanted to cripple us for the entire season by allowing us to have so many injuries on defense. But
yeah, it's a long road. It's 12 games.
Yeah.
You can't be going through halfway season and then injuring. Yeah, that's when you want to pull your people out for sure.
Yeah, and that's kind of what Iowa State has been screaming about, because Caleb Bacon went out in our first game against North Dakota, and he was in on punt returns. Our best linebacker was in on
Yikes.
special teams and went
Yeah.
down with. So allegedly he can come back at the end of the season, but everybody who knows Matt Campbell speak for injuries, we're not. He's not coming back at the end of the season. For all we know, we might as well start printing his mug on the side of milk cartons because he's missing.
In search of. I gotcha.
Yeah, so like that's always
funny.
kind of the weird thing for me is John Heacock can literally pull fans out of the stands, dress them up as linebackers, and go out and somehow still win football games. Just absolutely blows my mind. We just have to get to the second half.
Yeah. Man, things getting wild in the simulation here.
How many
Okay,
fumbles
so
was that in a row?
our last member of the top 25 in action on Saturday, Kansas State travels to West Virginia, where they are a 3-point favorite. West Virginia is another one that I feel like the wheels are starting to come off. I really thought that West Virginia would have a better showing against Iowa State at home. Can they trust the climb against Kansas State? I mean, it is a night game, so you never know in Morgantown, but Kansas State's pretty dadgum good, and they're firing on all cylinders right now. I think I like the Wildcats.
I'm going to have to, I'll pick this and then I got to go. I got my show in 10 minutes. So I'm sorry. I was a little bit too chatty on some of your answers, Clint. We'll have to do this
Head there
again.
next, everyone. Head to Big 12 Mafia next.
I appreciate that. Brownie, it's nice to meet you. We'll have to hook
Likewise.
up.
Heck yeah.
So I think look, I saw Kansas State in person. I was at that game, and I could not have been more impressed with their quarterback. Remind me what his name is? I'm sorry,
Avery Johnson.
Avery Johnson. Kid's going to be good, and he's going to be good for a long time. He might not always be at Kansas State, but he's going to be a good player. West Virginia, I thought, was going to give Iowa State a game. And that did not turn out to be. A night game's a little different in Morgantown, the elevation a little bit. It's going to be cold, but I think Kansas State's going to go in there and actually, I think it's 3. They might win by 10. So I respect the heck out of West Virginia, but I just think that K-State's got too much for them.
Yeah. Bernie, what do you think?
I still see this as a trap game, and I don't know why. Every time somebody travels to West Virginia, I always feel like it's a trap game. Iowa State, I actually was fearing for my life in the first half, just because of the way that the game was going, and I then realized that we were a second half team, and we kept it within that point differential. What I do find funny is Neil Brown's interview, where he was pitching the idea to the fans of having a good time and that winning isn't everything.
Yeah, that was.
And if I have ever
I missed that.
heard,
Oh my god.
yeah, and if
Yeah.
I have ever heard of a speech that is, "Hey man, I know we suck, but please come to the football game still," that is the speech,
That might get him fired, actually.
right? And
That might get him fired.
And I don't know if he's just like pleading the case of show up and see what I can still do. But again, like Morgantown always just scares me for some strange reason. And I think that they're going to give K-State a run for their money, but I still see Kansas State blowing them out by a solid 2 to 3 possessions.
Yeah. Well, our last game, this one, there was a time when this was a clash of titans 15 years ago. I can't believe
isn't that true?
And here now it is two dumpster fires going at it. Here's the thing. Yo, how many points is TCU going to lose by? It really doesn't bother me that Cam Rising is out, because all you have to do is run the ball on TCU and you win going away.
And that's not what you want to do, because that's all they can do is run the ball. So,
exactly. You know,
yeah.
and I mean, surely Kyle Whittingham is not so stupid as to go away from the run like Kansas did when we were
Micah
at Kansas.
Bernard will have 200 yards on the ground if it's that bad.
Yeah, I'm fully expecting 175 minimum on our defense.
Yikes.
I don't care how many good practices we had. It sucks because I feel like there's a lot of talent on TCU's team. It's just this coaching staff has not been able to put it together. Talk me off the ledge. Do either of y'all think that there's any world in which something good happens in Salt Lake City for my Frogs?
No.
No,
I don't think so. No, they're going to be emotionally charged up. Cam will probably run the flag out. No, he can't run it, can he?
He can't run it.
He can't. He can't even bear. He's supposed to be.
They'll hobble it out like.
Yeah, so they're going to be on emotional high. They're rallying behind their freshman quarterback, and I think you might see it might be an ugly score at the end if TCU doesn't put up a little bit of an offense. So I would. Yeah, 4.5 is. I don't know who did that in Vegas. That's crazy. That's another one. Bet the mortgage.
Right. I literally can't believe this line. I cannot.
Yeah, that line is pretty crazy. I bet you. No, he can't do it because he's a banker. I'll have to see if Moen lays a bet down for him. Because 4.5.
Brownie, do I have any hope?
No, you don't. I'm sorry, Clint. I really wish that I could say that you do, but honestly, Utah is just going to come out and spank you. I'm so sorry, but
I know it.
The glory days are over, and now you get to slip into we need to start fighting for bowl eligibility. Is really what I think that TCU is now planning for, is fighting for that bowl eligibility spot. You know, I really think that Bernard's going to come out here and put up 250 on you. 3 touchdowns. I really think he's just going to run all over the place.
That's what I fully expect.
And Isaac Wilson's no joke now. He's a 4-star. He threw for like 9,500 yards in high school or something. He can
Did he
throw
beat
the
his
ball.
brother's records or no?
I
didn't follow it that close.
I think Zach's still out a little bit, but he won a couple national championships, so I know he or national state championships. All I know is that he's going to be good in the future. So I would definitely just say you bet the over on Utah.